Kevin, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. I know you're on multiple boards of multiple public companies. The world has been completely disrupted in a way that I don't think either of us have seen in our lifetime. And I appreciate you taking the time to help us out with this project to help people figure out how to go from a paycheck to figure out their own income and becoming self-reliant. So
good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's just talk for a moment about your own personal experiences, because you've figured out in the world how to make your own way. And of course, now you're literally a celebrity entrepreneur. I mean, many people know who you are. You've had many great successes along the way. So given your own reference points and experience, how do you think it's applicable to what people are facing right now, that tens of millions are finally seeing themselves out of work?
Great question. I think it's times of very extreme difficulty like we're experiencing right now that entrepreneurs have to evaluate their business. They have to evaluate their assets. And in many cases, they have to think, okay, should I continue to go the way that I'm going, or do I need a pivot? And so I think, for example, I sell a lot of products to the shopping channels, HSN, QVC, we do infomercials, we're on Amazon, we're in retail stores. So what's happened here recently is people are not, there's 30 million unemployed people. A lot of people are sitting at home. Now, they're sitting at home, but they're getting creative. So they're coming up with ideas that are solving problems around the home. So our inventor business is spiking because we're getting more and more, we're doubling our inquiries from people that have new ideas that want to bring it to the market. So the innovation side of our business is good. But here again, those have longer lead times of taking an idea to the market. But it shows that even though people are quarantined at home, they're not just sitting there doing nothing. They're still looking to do something for their business, for their mind, for their future, for their income, right? So now I've also said to myself, okay, I've been selling products for 38 years. What products could be more applicable today versus a year ago? And so people are at home. It's sort of a do-it-yourself marketplace when people are spending time at home. So what do? We went after the tools that we used to be involved with: the smart wrench, the smart saw, the magic saw, the magic hammer, and by the way, those three products are going to generate over $40 million in sales over the next 12 months just on shopping channels. Okay. Wow. So I mean, and this is found business that we wouldn't have had we not said, what kind of products can we focus on? So we're focusing on houseware products, home products, fitness products, do-it-yourself products, hardware products, et cetera, et cetera. And then other things that may not be as applicable. I mean, maybe women aren't buying as much jewelry, for example. So the shopping channels sell a lot of jewelry, but hey, do you need another piece of jewelry when you're not even going out? Who's going to even see it, right? So jewelry sales may be dropping, but the DIY home improvement market's crushing it. Now, having said that, just to give you an example, like we deal with a lot of celebrities also. So here's a celebrity. This is Sophia Richie. She sells fashion products, but she's now approaching it from this work from home fashion, right? So you change that little approach on the ad and make it a work from home product. Now you can see a doubling, maybe tripling of sales possibly, depending upon what you're doing. We have one of the things that I tell entrepreneurs right now, that if you're in business, that you should test. That people think, now is not a good time to try to expand maybe my business. But my attitude is that as viewership of TV is actually increasing right now. Why? Because people are at home. What are they doing? Watching a lot of TV. It's also increasing viewership on Netflix, etc. But folks are at home. They're watching more TV. And this is a benefit to marketers, because we're getting some of the lowest customer acquisition costs, CAC, customer acquisition cost. We call it a CAC. And so I had one of our products that we went from an $18 CAC to under $2, because people are out there looking for opportunities, and so if you have a make money opportunity, how to make money during the times of crisis, like right now, that might be something very powerful. And so I go back to thinking of my life over the last 40 years, and 30 years ago, we had a similar situation, not quite as bad as the pandemic we have now. It was called the Gulf War, 1990. And when the Gulf War hit, I had a business in Europe, I had a business in Asia, I had a business in the United States, and overnight our sales went down by 90%. Why? People were afraid. The Gulf War, they were tuning in to the news, but they weren't buying things. And so this is a book that I came out with 30 years ago. How do you make spare time income? Okay, the 100 best ways to make a spare time income right now. And so that's what my book was. This book I did in conjunction with Wiley and Sons. It was a bestseller 6 times over. And so here I am 30 years later. Might be a few people out there wanting to hear about making money in their spare time and some part-time income opportunities. So, these are some of the things that I, as an entrepreneur, are focused on, partnering with people that have work from home income opportunities. And I'm working with inventors. I'm working with people doing things for the home, for the DIY market, for the home improvement, fitness markets, et cetera, because people, even my own personal situation, I used to travel 200 plus days a year. I couldn't really have a great personal trainer on a regular basis, but now I'm going to the gym. I've got a personal trainer. I'm doing things that I wasn't doing before, and all with the 6 feet apart requirements, because it's not a problem going. I go to a little private gym that he only has a handful of high level customers, and hey, we do what we do, and we do it all within the social distancing requirements. So anyway, make a long story short, I think for those that are out there, there are opportunities now that might go away once people go back to work, because there's a lot of people at home looking for opportunities, and that are lowering the CAC cost, the customer acquisition cost of some of the campaigns.
So this is interesting, because I didn't realize you wrote that book 30 years ago. So you literally wrote the book on this, I guess, in response to a similar, not exact, but a similar circumstance. So and I imagine that some of the things that you wrote about 30 years ago are still applicable, and maybe you've got some new ideas for today. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Interestingly enough, about a third of the businesses in the top 100 I went through, and I'm thinking, what was hot back 30 years ago, right? Well, about a third of the things are still top of the mind opportunities. And so yes, it's funny, because what I said on products, what did I do? I went back to my drawing board and I went for DIY products. Well, we did the magic saw 15 years ago, sold millions of them, and it was a bell-shaped curve. Had success, and then went on the other side and it was dead. And that's kind of, we did that with Tony Little's Gazelle and Jack LaLanne's Juicer and George Foreman. But now when you have a product that goes up and goes down, it now is the time to look at some of those. So we just said, what are some of those old ones? We brought the magic saw back, and QVC sold 150,000 magic saws in the month of December. A 15-year-old product that I hadn't touched. And all I had to do was call the manufacturer and get some samples, send them over to QVC. They placed a purchase order, and now it's selling through. So, this is why one of the things I tell people is you in times of crisis like this, you should be checking with your mentor. And then some people say, wait a minute, I don't have a mentor. You need a mentor. you should have a mentor. If you don't, you're missing out. And now is the time to get one, because if you know, I've been getting phone calls from people that I mentor, and I have some mentors myself. And so it's very powerful to be able to make a phone call and get some quick, interesting advice. And it's just an amazing thing. So get yourself a mentor. We could talk about how do you do that if you'd like, but now is the time to make sure that you've got some good advice.
Thanks so much for being here and watching that video. And can I ask you to please subscribe to our channel so you can find out when we're posting new content. You'll be alerted right away when we do. To share this with people you think might benefit from the information, and certainly it helps us if you like the video. So if you like what you just saw, go ahead and hit that like button. And again, thank you so much for being here with me right now.